Hi friends, welcome to Creating with Christine. I'm Christine Roberts. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Langley, British Columbia, Canada, and I am wanting to do a bit of a layout share with you on the projects, a nice stack of layouts that I have completed. This past weekend, I was on a 5-day scrapbooking retreat with some girlfriends, and this is a retreat that I attended where I was a guest and I was not part of the organizing and hosting of it. So it was a change for me, meant that I got to just sit down and work on my own projects. And while I interacted, obviously, and chatted and enjoyed my friends' company and some of the other guests, it was nice to not have to work on the weekend. So I wanted to show you, we've been planning for this retreat for just over a year. And I wanted to show you some of the steps I took in prepping for it in terms of packing kits. I was very determined to try and maximize my production and creativity and get as much scrapbooking as I could get done on the weekend. And so I wanted to just show you what my process was on packing some of these kits. And so there's a couple different ways that I prepped for it. And I thought I would just run through a couple of them before I showed you some of my layouts. So one of the things I'll do is oftentimes I'll find a sketch that I really like. So there's something about the sketch that I'm drawn to. Now, whether or not it's a photo placement or some of the background details, like in this one with the hexagons, a lot of times it does come down to just the way that the photos are sitting on the page and the way it's embellished that will draw me to the sketch or the sample artwork that I saw online. So this would have been an image that I snatched off of the internet. It's Allison Davis, and she creates for Scrapbook Generation. Now, Scrapbook Generation has all kinds of sketches you could grab and work with for your own personal use. And this is an example of one of the projects that she's created. Now, what I really liked about this project is I liked all the hexagons. I've got a hexagon die from the Meant to Be collection, the Stampin' Up! Bumblebee. It's a very cute collection, and it's got a hexagon die that comes with that stamp set. And so the hexagon die, I think there's like 6 different sizes, and they've got a stitched border around them. So I quite like that die, and this was a great way to use lots of different small pieces of paper when you've got certain paper packs in your inventory. With lots of patterns, it's a great way to incorporate lots of pattern without, it's busy, but it's also, just a feature around the edge. And then the photos are still popping off and on display. So there was pictures that I took of Miles, my grandson, in the backyard. I often will put the date and what photos I'm going to work with on the sketch, and I put that on the sketch. Oftentimes, I will even describe the photo that I'm envisioning in this step, but in this instance I had so many pictures to choose from that I printed out 10 3x4s, and I'm going to trim these down to 3x3 for in these spots. And I think I'll have an extra because there's only 9 spots here, and I will end up in all likelihood putting a flip flap in there and probably adding a bit more journaling underneath of that second layer in a flip flap. So this is all I did for prep for this particular layout. Didn't get to it. I got out of the 15 kits that I prepped, I got 14 of them done. So that's pretty good. Actually, no, I got 13 of them done. And so this is all I've prepped for this sketch. Now I'll show you the next one that I have. It's going to be hard for you to tell, but this is a scrapbooking layout that I have got from the Weekend Adventures, which is a new Stampin' Up! Collection that's available right now. It's kind of outdoorsy weekend kind of forest vibes to this collection. And so I basically knew that I wanted to recreate the sketch that's in that guide, but I'm going to just look in my Palm Springs photos from when we were at Joshua Park and see what pictures I've got to kind of fit this 4x6, and this is for 3x4s. So I took this sketch and I actually I created, you'll see when we flip through here, a layout using kind of the overall design of this sketch. But I liked it enough that I wanted to recreate it a second time. So I've kind of prepped for that, but kind of not prepped. You can see that I don't have any photos ready for this one. The other thing I brought with me, just in case, I think I might have overestimated as to how productive I would be, but a girl can dream. I brought as well the Celebrate Together workshop kit. So this kit is pre-designed by Stamping Up. It's got everything you need in it for creating these 3 double page layouts. Now you could create them exactly as you see and as they instruct you, or you can adapt them for your own purposes and photo directions. There's some flexibility in there. If you're not familiar with the guides, there's full instructions on the cutting of the cardstock and the pattern paper. And the layouts are also instructed along here. You can see all of the instructions here for the assembly. And then, like I said, you can work on those 3 layout designs or go in your own direction. So I didn't get around to creating with this one. And so this one I will add just to my pile of kitted projects, and I'll be able to plug away at that another event, or even during the week or weekend when I have time to create. So the other item that I had here was a layout that I had already had in my collection of unfinished layouts. And so I've got the artwork here from the original class, which was a Close to My Heart class, that I still need to add photos to. So I brought it with me in the thought that if I was coming across something that would work, I would have this ready with what the intended design was, and so I could fill these spots with photos. And so I just created this, I've got a punch from Creative Memories. I created this sun punch because I thought, I don't know if I have any of this product still. This is very long ago. This is 2015. That's how old that is. That's 10 years old. So I thought I would just grab some cardstock that would coordinate, or pattern paper that coordinates with this. And so I had just pre-cut out this item to add to this. So this is still on my to-do list, but at least I've got it kind of sorted and organized and assembled and ready for photos and journaling. Now, the other thing I did here, which is another example of where I'm using that same sketch, is I've got my paper that I actually kind of specifically went through the paper pack and pulled out the papers that I wanted to work on with this layout, and the cardstock, and some of the cut apart sheets. And then, of course, I've got my photos printed, so they're ready to go. This will be a 4x6, and those are 4 3x4s. And so it will have this picture, and then these guys of Papa and Miles playing together on the floor. So it's kind of prepped, kind of not prepped. Like I said, I had varying degrees of prep in terms of photos and sketches, but some of that thinking, when you do get that step in the kitting organized, then at least when you sit down in a crowded event like a crop where there's people chatting and you're chatting, you can at least be focused on the project you're working on, and some of the thinking and finding and time-consuming part, which would be finding your photos that you wanted to use with that sketch and putting the papers together, or finding papers you want to work with. You do that bit of prep at home. So let's get into the layouts. There's going to be a variety in here, some that I've gone from scratch, and then some that I have worked on that were created already. Now, this single layout here was from a past Album Retreat event. And so if you're familiar with Album Retreat, Close to My Heart offered Album Retreat events, classes, where you would create at least 12 layouts, be that double pages or doubles and singles, mostly double pages, usually with one single front and one single for the back, is kind of how they created their Album Retreat. We have a new one coming up through Stamping Up. It's an Album Retreat that Close to My Heart had worked on and was intending on releasing, and then the company closed. And so Stamping Up got their hands on those projects and have offered it to all of us now. And so I wanted to give you an example of what was involved in a Close to My Heart Album Retreat layout, where you'll see some pre-cut shapes. Now, all of your kit components for each layout are going to be pre-cut for you. Some components you'll have to prep and get organized ahead of time, but in most cases, all of the things are cut for you. And then through Album Retreat, while you're watching the online class and they're presenting the layouts to you and instructing on the layouts, that's when they will walk you through the techniques that are getting added to the layout. And so in this instance, we did a little bit of background blending with ink and some stamping direct onto this white base. And then we've stamped on some of these different embellishment pieces. And so the word bubbles and the stamps and stickers and all those sorts of things that you see here are going to be included into the album retreats that you sign up for. So just so you know, if you're wondering what kind of caliber of pages you're going to be getting, this is giving you a little example of the caliber. So this was just a dinner, meeting up for some drinks and dinner with some of my girlfriends from high school. So we try to get together every few months. And when I had only really one picture of us from that one dinner, this was a perfectly fitting page to fill that layout and get it done and get it into my album. So that is one of them. Now, this is cardstock. Another layout that I had already cut and organized was from a past Close to My Heart event. So this was from the Celebrate, I want to say 2018 or 2019 convention, where we had creative projects, and Close to My Heart had already cut and designed projects for us to create at our little create stations when you go to convention. And so this was one of the ones that I had yet to create with, didn't have it made or stamped. There was components that I needed to do for prep. And so I brought all of this with me on this weekend retreat and finally got it actually created. So I didn't use the photos from the convention that I attended, but instead I used photos from a recent retreat up at Loon Lake, where we were celebrating our 150th retreat. This is Heather and myself, and there's a retreat that Heather runs every month up in Loon Lake in Maple Ridge in BC. And it's awesome, full of all kinds of creatives. So card makers, scrapbookers, mixed media, quilters, people who come and knit and crochet, people who do the diamond painting. It's just a great place to get away and take a break and be creative. So this is one of the layouts that we worked on with just some stamping on cardstock kind of technique. Our cardstock is two-tone, so the true color and then the lighter version of the cardstock. And so just helping us work with maybe just a little bit of pattern paper and some cardstock, and seeing that when we add some stamping, we can get a lot of wow out of our project still. And then the other layout that was in that kit for me to finish off from many years ago was this layout. And I just changed it by including some stamping, not a current stamp, but a stamp that I have in my inventory to represent the 150. I still need to stamp out, I want to stamp out on a little banner, just the word retreat, or maybe I'll find some stickers or something. I'm not sure yet, but I wanted to add that. And I've just done some direct stamping on my layout just to add a little bit here. These are just some tiny little hearts, and this is first generation and second generation stamping. So went in with the dark blue, I think it's Bluebird, is one of the Close to My Heart colors, and then just my second stamp without re-inking, I get that lighter version of it. So a little bit of stamping on the title, but some of the pieces are pre-cut. And this is just a simple, I didn't have a lot of photos, and I wasn't going to do a big giant spread about the cake, and I thought that this would work well side by side in the album anyway, because we're dealing with the same colors. So I'll likely have these guys sitting in my book side by side. So those are the two singles that I have there. So now we're going to get into some double layouts, 2-page layouts. And so this is another example, very easily duplicable for you if you were liking just the overall look of this layout. I think I have it backwards. I might have it all backwards. Let me just switch it, actually. That would be funny, flipping through with them all. Okay, so let's straighten that out. Perfect. That is the way it was intended to be. So these are just different colors of cardstock created into this little rainbow effect. And very simple. One sheet of pattern paper that's in there. I mean, you could easily replicate this if you had some tone on tone. That would be nice to create this kind of a rainbow effect. The 150th retreat that we celebrated, we had some t-shirts made up, and we had a bit of a fiesta celebration theme. It was the couple days before the Cinco de Mayo, so we also kind of had some fun with some of that, those props and such for our workspace. But great great design for getting some journaling in to tell the story of the day, and in this case, the weekend. But really a very simple design of just layering cardstock or pattern paper and creating that bit of rainbow. And then, of course, using some of the extra bits of your cardstock to create that banner. This was stamped. This was a big stamp that we had that we got from convention. And so this is stamped. And I did actually, just to let you know, I had this piece of paper into, the Stamp-A-Majig or the Misty. And I stamped this three times, I believe, to make sure that I got a really good, strong image on there. So keep that in mind if you're wanting to stamp when you're scrapbooking, if you've got the 12 by 12 Misty or one of those larger format ones, or if it's a piece of paper that is smaller and will fit into those different smaller sized Misties and Stamp-A-Majig, I think it's called, that Stampin' Up has. This helps you, and it also helps you to feel a little bit more confident when you're stamping, knowing that you can kind of come in there and correct it because you've got it laid out and pinned down. So I could have attempted this with a block, but I just knew that it would be faster for me to use that tool. So the other one that I've got here is, I think it's called Florals in Bloom, the name of this paper pack. This is a new paper pack that Stampin' Up! Has come out with, and you're going to see a variety of old, non-Stampin' Up!, non-Close to My Heart products in this stack, as well as some current products. So this is a current product that's out right now. It's a new product in our new annual catalog. And yeah, I believe it's Florals in Bloom. Now I've used some of the stickers off of the sticker sheet, because you can get the DSP with a sticker sheet. You can also just get the DSP by itself. And you can see by the outline on some of this DSP that you can also fussy cut or hand cut it out as well. So that's what I've done in a few of these embellishment bits. And some of the stickers that are in the kit as well are bigger, and they have a bigger border around them, which I went back and cut down a little bit because I found that the white border around some of the stickers was a bit too big. Now, the title capture and the camera was a stamp set that was released with Close to My Heart. I think it was in for about a minute and then it was sold out right away. So it's I have lots of amazing product that I feel sometimes like I seldom have time to work with, because I am trying to work with current products so that people can see what's current and available to them. I don't always like to dive into and kind of advertise or showcase with you products that you can't get, because I think sometimes that's not fun for me to do that to you. But if you have that stamp set, then it was a good find. It had this little film strip on here, and I just did a bit more this weekend. I did a bit more of the typing up of my journaling. I did definitely handwrite some of my journaling, but I also did some typing up of my journaling and just kind of spread it out along my page. So this is just a snapshot of all of the flowers that I've got blooming in my yard right now for spring. So in BC, where I live in the Lower Mainland, oftentimes we are interspersed with lots of rain, and so we don't always get to enjoy the flowers when they come for as long as we do. But I feel like this spring has been just phenomenal when it comes to all of our flowers, and I've really been able to enjoy all of the rhododendrons and azaleas and just some of the flowering shrubs that I have. So that is the one layout there, and that one there was from a sketch. So I found a sketch online and I just tweaked it or replicated it so it worked for me. Now this is another layout that was from a past album retreat that I hadn't filled in yet. Now, it's either exactly the one from the last album retreat, or I duplicated it with pattern paper that I liked at the time. So I'm kind of unclear as to the order of which that is, but it's a great design. This white is cut out from cardstock, and the outline of the butterfly is repeated and stacked in terms of on your template with Cricut. So you can easily grab a shape and arrange a shape on your mat and have it cut out for you as a bit of a template and just tuck the pattern paper in behind. Or in this instance, you could grab one of the favorite shapes of yours and just replicate it across your page. So this is a nice example of very, very minimal pattern paper involved in this. If you have scraps left over from a kit, to punch out some shapes and and then just either back it in behind that cut or mount them on there as a butterfly image. So that is an example of just an easy way to use up some of your scraps on that one. Now this is also of the weekend that we just had. And so I already have these images from our visit to Coombs. Scrapbooked, picked up a little sticker from their gift shop there. And while I already had this layout with me, I picked a few layouts that I had with me that were already created just so that I could, if I come across the photos, fill them. It is still giving me that kind of that satisfaction in getting those images into my album and making sure that I'm using up some of these layouts that I have created that are just sitting there empty without some of the photos. So I don't know if you are like me and create layouts that have yet to have photos on them, but this is a great way, just bringing these empty layouts, a few of them even with you when you go to an event, or if you just have a little bit of time to scrapbook, maybe grab one of those layouts out and just scroll through your photos and see if there's things that you can add to it, or photos that you can add to those unfinished layouts. And so, yeah, I really liked the design on this one and the fact that you could take a punch. If you've got a punch of a simple butterfly shape like this, where you could be punching out some different scraps and just laying them out in a grid design against basically just 2 sheets of cardstock. So really great way to use up some of your little scraps. So now this layout and the one below it here are 2 layouts that I had designed for the ladies at the 150th retreat weekend. So they each got, but for attending, a kit that included the product to create these 2 layouts or whatever layouts they wanted to create, as well as a package of the Picture My Life cards that came out with this Sawyer paper pack. And so I knew that I wanted to use this paper for this weekend of me going away. So again, I've printed out some of the photos of our adventures while we were in Coombs on the island, on Vancouver Island, and us just stopping at the Billy Gruff's Creamery. So we were having some ice cream. And so the kit that I gave everyone was a scrapbooking workshop kit that had some pre-cut shapes and imagery that people were easily able to just kind of pop out and create this layout. This is a very fast layout, and also a great one for you if you're looking at some scraps of pattern paper with a circle punch. Pick your size for your circle punch. Maybe pick a couple of different sizes of your circle punch. The easiest way to create any kind of a banner like this would be to actually grab your circle punch and just fold those circles in half. And you could even put some ribbon along here, not ribbon, but twine or something like that, string, and wrap those circles around the string, and they would literally hang off of here. There's a few different techniques you could take in if you did that. You could, if you like to hand stitch, or if you like to use your sewing machine, you could stitch down those half circles. You could just glue them, put some adhesive in there and glue them. You could pop some of them up with foam tape, leave some of them flat. Add some little embellishments on the banner just to draw and maybe add a little bit more jazzmatazz to your border, or your banner, I should say. But this was relatively easy because all of these shapes were cut out already. So great little 2-pager telling the story, and still pretty. So this guy here was another one that was kind of pre-done with a workshop kit from Close to My Heart, which I've just changed slightly. I've added some cardstock and done a little bit. I'm not sure if you can make this out. I'll bring this up to the camera and see if you can see that. But hopefully you can see this floral embossing. So now this embossing folder is just a small one. I don't think I'll be able to find it in my stack. I haven't quite put everything away from the weekend, but I am recreating some boards with the new product, and wanting to put some of these layouts away in their albums. And so I did want to do this layout share first, and then I can put this stuff away. At any rate, this is part of that Celebratory Sips paper collection, which is new out there. There are 2 little mini embossing folders. I think that works out to being about 3 by 5 or 3 by 6, I think. I'll find them. Anyway, this was a great little outline floral imagery that I've just used because I didn't have that much pattern paper here. I've just used it to emboss the cardstock with the 2 different designs. So this is the one design, which is kind of like a glassware design. and then this one here, which is the floral. So I just used the cardstock to emboss them, just to add a little bit more interest visually. And I only had the paper I had for this kit. So I was just kind of working with what I had and the cardstock and the die cut shapes that were also in this kit. So printed up some journaling, and this is a piece of pattern paper in behind here, and this is already all cut out. So all of the words here are cut out of the white cardstock, and that's also something that if you're adventuresome and you're on your Cricut, you could play with a couple different fonts in creating your own title or even journaling that you back with paper. Kind of a clever way to do it. So that is that one layout. Now the other one that I finished off was of my son's birthday, which we celebrated when we were in Mexico. And this is just very simply the stickers from the Turtley Cute DSP and sticker pack. This is the pattern paper, some of the patterns of the pattern paper, and the large stickers that came with that one. I have, as a little sun pattern paper cut out, I've got a punch that creates this sun, and I just used some of that musical notes pattern paper for in behind there. And then this is the stitched, I think it's Essentials dies. It's got a couple different banner shapes, and so it's a great little shape to give you a better, cleaner banner outline. And I've just stamped the images from a couple different stamp sets to just help with this one, because the images for the sticker sheet are really quite large, which is good for the Turtley Cute paper pack and sticker sheet combo. There was less little embellishments, and this is, for me, it's a fair bit of busy paper. So I'm okay with actually just leaving this relatively plain per se. I did stamp happy birthday along this little strip of white cardstock, and I alternated 3 of the colors that are in this collection along the banner. And then I also, just to show you that embossing folder, I also used our brand new alphabet dies, which are the big, I think they're called party banner, alphabet or something like that. So you can see that they are at least a good 2 inches. And what I did is I just ran the embossing folder, if you can make that out, along the bottom. And so I've just created this textured impression along the bottom of that title, just to throw a little bit of interest into it, make it stand out a little bit more than just plain cardstock. I die cut it out. I don't know if you can make that out, but I die cut it out of 2 sheets of cardstock paper, and I just embossed the top alphabet. And so the base of it, or the back of it, I just glued the smooth version to the back, and I did pop up every other one just to kind of get that layering in there with just some thin foam tape. You can barely make out that foam tape. So anyway, that is that layout for my son. And then I've got into the weekend adventures. Now this is part of the scrapbook workshop kit that you can get. So if you look on, and coincidentally, we've got our collections, so sweet collections, which are on sale right now. Buy one, get one, 50% off. So if you click on a link, I've got one on my Facebook page right now that's taking you to the products that are there. And you'll be able to tell in your cart when you add one item and you add a similar item. If it's a collection, it will discount it to 50% off. So kind of a nice sale that's happening right now. But this is the Weekend Adventures scrapbooking kit, workshop kit. So you'll, as I went through with the other one, you've got instructions to follow along and do theirs exactly. This one is pretty much exactly as they've designed. So it's a fun little design, nice splash of pattern paper. There is only 6 different patterns in this paper pack. So you've got less pattern paper than some of our other DSPs to work with, but it's still, with the workshop kit, you've got the wood grain backgrounds. You've got a couple wood grain backgrounds to work with, which are fantastic. And with this kit, the only thing I changed is I added a little bit of these this green pattern paper with the trees on it. So I wanted to get a bit more of the green on this page. And then in this example, this is Mason and Miles, and they are, I've got to add a journaling square here, but they were just having some boy time in the backyard. And I wanted to use the photos that I had from this, and that's why I added the flip-flops, was just so that I could add a couple more pictures in there, and then I've got another spot here for some hidden journaling. So nice design, simple. You've got your photos on there, and I like that someone else thought up the design and the measurements for me. Now this is a layout that I had as a class from many years ago, and it was just great to finally get some photos and some journaling and get it ready to go in the album. This was from this last May 22nd, so just a few weeks ago, my daughter's birthday. And again, I've got room here for some additional journaling. I might actually even have a spot here where I'll get Marissa to write some journaling in here herself. But it was great to just get through some of the product that I've had sitting there for a long time and ready to use. So this is a great one for you. If you like this kind of a frame design, these are 2-inch strips. I do believe they are. I'll double check that they're 2-inch strips. Yeah, 2-inch strips. So you can cut out of 3 different pattern papers, 2 2x12-inch strips. And what the secret is for this in terms of getting a really nice line is you just take that 2-inch piece and fold it back on like a 45-degree angle. So just fold back the corner that's underneath of here, and you use your burnishing or use your bone folder and just kind of firmly get yourself a nice crease on there. And those pieces, if you hit them at that 45-degree angle perfectly, they do meet up perfectly in the corners. And so some people will make a mark and cut it and all that, but honestly, folding it makes it just perfect. And then I just placed a piece of cardstock on top to have this background here, and it kind of covered up any area where it didn't match perfectly. So maybe try that technique on your own. It's just a very simple splash of pattern paper with 3 different patterns. And like I said, fold the corner on the ones that meet in the middle here at a 45-degree and glue it down. So very simple. I've done a bit of staggering. I shaved a smidge off of these photos so that they would just overlap and still be able to give us a little bit of that background. So I made them a little bit skinnier than 4x6, but not by much. So that was a fun one to get done of Marissa on her birthday. So I feel like I just finished her birthday from last year, and it was kind of fun to get her birthday done from May this year. So there's another picture of Mason and Lily and Miles, and they're just hanging out in the backyard at their house playing and doing a little bit of balance beaming. So Mason built this fun little balance beam for the kids out of some logs and wood. And this was another kit that was sitting in my stash of projects yet to do. So incorporating again another flip flap so that you can add more photos on a page and still be able to maintain some sort of design and other embellishments and such as well. So I'm not necessarily filling this page with every square inch of it with picture. I also have some nice elements to look at and kind of draw my eye around the page. And it's nice to be able to just pop in that extra photo that I needed to pop in there as well. So this is again a very simple design with 3 different pattern papers only as your primary ones. And this is, this is like 2 inches, 2 inches, and probably 6 inches. Yeah, so 1 sheet of pattern paper, 6 inches, and that will be by 11. So 6 by 11, 2 by 11, 2 by 11. Stack them. This is just some cardstock with a very simple scallop border that's just been kind of, you can tell that I don't glue very much because I just tucked this in and it's still sitting here loose. So it was just a piece that was run along the border punch and just tucked it in there to tie in some of that orange. So really quite simple. Sometimes it's the simplest things that give you the most impact as well. So very simple cuts, nothing too complicated. Great way to use up your paper and bring in some 3 different patterns on this page. This is just, what do you call it? Thickers is the name of the brand. Thickers Alphabet. So peeled it down and stuck it down. And actually I ran out of E's, and so I just cut an F and put a little piece from an L in there to create that second E. and just layered some of the bits that I had, wood buttons, and some of the enamel dots that you have from kits. Just kind of lay that stuff down. Some of the fun paper clips that you probably collected years ago, and getting these guys stuck down and into a layout. This collection is a combination of, I believe it's Honey Bunny and also Gnomes for Spring. So it's two different collections that I've mixed together here to document some of our yard prep this spring. So, it's interesting considering this is just photos of the yard and working in the yard, that I actually had so much to journal about it. So I've got lots of sections here of journaling, and then I also added in a whole other part here of journaling as well. Just talking about how we are prepping a lot of the areas, because we just have so many weeds. And so the vegetable garden, and then there's an area of garden along the fence line. We had the fence was replaced and repaired along there. So it's this nice looking fence, and we were determined this spring to get this all cleaned up and get some mulch in this area. Because it really is just an area essentially behind the garden. It's not an area we use, and it's not an area we like to bring our mower back to. So there's a lot of maintenance to get things a lot of work to get it to be a less maintenance property. So anyway, this is just documenting all of the work that we've put in so far, and it's only just the beginning of June. So hopefully we can get stuff buttoned up so we can be done. This was another layout. The design itself was originally from a album retreat. So this isn't an album retreat original, but it is a layout that I created again with different paper, and did a little bit of Cricut die cutting, and some of the stamps, or not the stamps, some of the stickers that went with this paper pack. I forget what this one was called, but it's an older, close to my heart paper pack. And I also had just some little stickers and dies that I had from I'm just putting other things together to kind of embellish and finish this guy off. So some of the wooden buttons that Close to My Heart used to create, and some of the stickers that I've just got from other sticker sheets that I've added on here. So this is more documenting of our 150th retreat. And this wonderful woman, Margot, had created these gifts for Heather and I, which are just incredible, where she's folded the pages of a book to create from a side profile here, Heather's name, and I've got mine upstairs that says Christine. So very, very sweet gift that she made for us for our 150th retreat. And we played bingo and just had some silly games, pinata, and just a little snapshot of our food. It was really a great weekend. So this is more of the florals and blooms. So what I did with a couple of these layouts is I worked with the I'm really bad with the names, but it is a scrapbooking workshop kit. So there are 3 pre-designed layouts. I wonder if I could even find it in a pinch. Maybe not. They've got 3 pre-designed 2-page layouts with some of these components that you punch out, just cardstock embellishments that punch out of a sheet. And then what I've done with this one is I've changed the layouts. So I didn't replicate their layout design. I just created my own. And some of these are a mixture of images that have been cut out of the DSP and some of the images that are on the sticker sheet. So these guys are stickers. This is the die cut paper that was in the kit. This is just embellished, or the flowers that I cut out to create an embellishment. So yeah, a combination of what I've hand cut out and stickers, and some of the sentiments that were in it. Now I had this stamp set from quite a few years ago from Close to My Heart. This was a convention stamp that we got from Convention 2017. And so I really love this sentiment that's there. We take photos as a return ticket to a moment otherwise gone. So this was documenting Mother's Day just this past month. And again, incorporating the flip-flops so that I can just get that extra photo in there. But I don't need to load it up with just photos all over every square inch of my layout. So I still get to be able to enjoy the design of this layout, which again, you can see here, super simple, right? I think this is a 10 by 10 square. So a little cut off on the left-hand side, 1/4 inch strips of pattern paper, a busier paper. And then here I've done the same thing, but I've done a reverse emboss. So I'm laying down, I'm not sure if you can make it. The grooves are on the inside. So it's not raised, it's inverted, I guess. And so that's what I did as a little design detail with the floral to kind of support the floral that's already going on here. So this is the In Bloom, Florals in Bloom. Maybe it's called In Bloom Scrapbooking. I'm not sure, sorry. Anyway, you'll see it online. I'll put a link down below, or a product link anyway. So that is that layout. And then this is one of the last, or is the last. Nope, two more here. So I've got this one here, which is still from that same floral paper. I've just picked out one of the designer series papers, and I've supported it with the cardstock colors that are in there. So we've got the new Darling Duckling, and I believe that this is Lemon Lime, and then this guy here is Pool Party. So you can see here, working with that embossing folder, how I have created texture and dimension on that cardstock without having to use a pattern paper, just supporting it with cardstock that went with this, or coordinated with this designer series paper. So these papers are in the kit, and these embellishment bits are part of the sticker sheet and the die cuts that are in the scrapbooking workshop kit. So you'll see this imagery of the Mother's Day and the Love These Days. This is in the scrapbooking workshop kit that you can get online. I've added a couple of these stamped photo or camera and film strip pieces just to add a little bit of some darker, just to kind of ground it a little bit. This is that new what's it called? Secret C, which is our new in color, 2025 to 2027 in color. So Secret C is a really, really dark gray blue color. And so I've stamped the camera icon in that, and I've stamped the film strip in this Secret C. So it looks kind of black, but it's actually that really dark blue. And so there's that one. Again, started with a sketch, picked my photos, varied it a little bit because these were 4x6s in the photo. So I changed them to 2 3x4 so I could just get more of this day documented. And this is when we were in Cabo for the week with the kids. So last one is this one here, which is, I'm not sure if you have any of these. They're the pre-cut die cut sheets that you used to be able to buy like many, many, many years ago, where it was already cut for you. So this was a 12x12 sheet that had the whole kind of alphabet. Now I've just cut strips out of the two that I had, just to add something different. I liked the fact that these were all letters. And then this is a paper pack that is from Echo Park or something like that, that has the books and the alphabet. So I just wanted to document Miles when he was, I think, maybe 10 months old. I'm not sure. Yeah, 10 months old. And he was sitting up on his own, reading the books, the board books, and whether they were upside down or right side up, he was pretty cute because he would put the book right up into his nose and he was reading. And so anyway, a spot here for me to journal about it, and then like lots of different opportunities here. These were 4x6s that I trimmed down to 3x5. And so little piece of paper above and below, or a full strip. And this is another easily duplicatable. It's a 3-inch wide strip. So this is something that you could quite easily whip up at home. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different patterns or paper that are 3 inches by 12. And then this is a 3-inch cardstock piece that I've added the white cardstock to journal. So anyway, this is my, I'm not sure how long layout share, but anyway, hopefully you've seen a few things. Maybe there's something here that has sparked you to create or recreate, which would be great. And anyway, thanks for tuning in. Take care.